Hello folks, I hope that you're having a great and safe day today. Today I want to take a look at my next chapter in my Living with Huntington's Disease series, and today what I want to take a look at, I want to be really open about what some of my fears as somebody living with HD. What do I, what do I dread? What do I fear? What keeps me awake at night? Those sorts of things. Well, not really, but what, in theory, keeps me awake at night? Where are my fears? Where are my where are the things that I dread with this condition? As a reminder, for those of you who are new to the channel, or for whom this might be your first video in the series, Huntington's disease is a neurological degenerative condition that you inherit from your parents. It's genetic in nature. It's dominant, so there's a 50-50 chance of passing it on to any child that you have. It attacks people who have it from 3 different angles. It attacks them physically so that they have pulses, choreas, they twitch, they will move. It will eventually force them to become wheelchair ridden and then bedridden, and then ultimately they'll typically die from the physical aspect of the condition, where their heart or their lungs will stop working or will work arrhythmically, and then thus they will die from one of those 2 aspects of the condition. Secondly, it affects them mentally, and their mental health specifically. They'll be more likely to become depressed. They'll be more likely to fall into a number of different sort of mental health, suicidal ideation, that sort of thing. And then finally, it hits their mind. Their brain will atrophy. Their memory will go with it. Their speed of reasoning and responding to something drops. So it also affects them mentally as well. So it hits them up from 3 separate angles. So again, what I want to do today is kind of take, and I've been doing this as a series. I do this every Saturday. So what I want to do is take today, and last week I talked about what it's like to job search and job hunting as somebody with Huntington's disease. But now what I want to do for you instead is take a look at what it looks like instead to have somebody who has this condition, and what are your fears? What are your dreads? I'm hoping that this might be either an opportunity for somebody who doesn't have HD or live with a similar condition, what it's like for you, but also for somebody who is coming to this with HD, are these similar dreads or fears to what you have too? So that's kind of my view of opening this up for you and what that's like. So let's talk about that and unpack that. My first fear is what's going to happen after I become wheelchair ridden. I am single. I don't live with anybody. I've talked about that actually in a previous video where called Living Single, where I talked about my decision to choose to live single intentionally because I don't want to curse somebody I love with being forced to have to care for me. That would be the worst. You shouldn't marry somebody selfishly, right? You should marry somebody because you love that person and because you want to do everything you can for that person. I couldn't imagine somebody I love cursing them with my condition. I would hate to do that. And then secondly, I would hate to give this on to my children too. I want, when I die, this to die with me. It's done. The one that affected my family, I'm the last one with it. When I die, it goes too. So I'll win when I die. It's a victory. And I want to celebrate that. So I talked before about my decision to choose to live life as a single Abe. But one of the issues with that is, what happens when I become wheelchair bound? What happens when I become hospital bound? I don't want to be sitting in a nursing home all day. I don't want to be, or a long-term health care home. Those sorts of things tend not to have great things. I don't want to sharing a bedroom with somebody else, or more people, sharing common living spaces. I just, that idea. But yet at the same time, I probably won't be able to afford just living at home and then just having somebody come in and visit me a few times a day. Although that might be where we start, is that sort of a thing before we move to a long-term home. Am I going to move home? My family doesn't have a place that's really accessible. I mean, it has stairs to get up to the thing from the driveway. It's not really handicap accessible for somebody with a wheelchair. And they're both retired. I don't think they're moving house again. So does that mean I'm going to be in a home automatically because I won't be able to get some care for a few years from them? Possibly. So what ends up happening with other folks that are out there? So these are some of my fears that are out there, that people that I see that are out there. What's going to happen to me once this condition gets to the point where I need help medically? What's going to happen after that? Also, one of my biggest fears, and I will admit that I'm totally selfish on this one, is I don't want to die painfully. We all have fears of death, right? It's just a part of being human. We try to do everything we can to push back our death as long as possible, right? And I don't want to die facing my death in pain. I am a total coward. I have prayed to God. I've said to him, hey, when you kill me, take me at night when I'm sleeping, just like you did my mom. She died peacefully while she was asleep. Her heart gave out while she was asleep. She never woke up. And coward that I am, I want the same thing to happen to me too, right? From the condition that I inherited from her. I want to die when I want to go to sleep and not wake up. You know, that for me is the ideal way to die. I would hate to have to have it linger for days or hours. I'm an absolute coward when it comes to that. And I totally own that. I'm totally selfish on that one. I would prefer to die not painfully, but to die well. And while I don't mind facing my death, I do at the same time want to have to do so painfully, without pain. With as little pain as possible. That's just who I am. I'm a selfish coward, and I totally own that. But that's also one of my concerns too, is that this condition is going to kill me. Now, how it kills me, I don't know. Maybe it'll just keep me from breathing. Maybe it'll just keep my heart from working. Maybe it'll be something else. Who knows? Or maybe it'll cause me to fall, and I'll die in the fall, or die a couple of hours later. Who knows, right? But as a general rule, this condition kills you through the first two things we talked about. That's where it's terminal from. So that's another fear that I have too, and I'll own that with y'all. That's another big fear too. My death, my care. Once I get to a point where I'm going to need permanent care, those are sorts of things. I would love to be that old person who lives to a ripe old age, lives on their own, they're fine in their 70s and their 80s. I'd love to be that person. I'm active, I'm healthy, my heart's in a good condition, my lungs are in a good condition. Whenever I go and get a physical, only my Huntington's disease is the only issue I have. And I'm very good about diseases bouncing off of me. I walk to a lot of places, keep healthy, but yet I eat healthy. But yet at the same time, I don't have... I don't have that option because of Huntington's disease. Unfortunately, it's just not my control. I can only control so much, after all. And then, so those are some of the fears that I have as somebody living with Huntington's disease, what that care looks like, what the end will look like, and those sorts of things. So there you are. I know this is probably a little bit more of a downer, but I want to be totally open with you as to where I am as somebody who lives the single life with Huntington's disease, where are my fears, where are my concerns, and that sort of thing. So there you are. Now there are Huntington's disease, luckily, so I want to end the episode on a bright note, does treat different people different ways. For me, it's been slower than it was with my mom, whose condition I inherited. She died about 8 years into it. I'm about the same length. I'm still working. I'm still walking. I'm still eating fine. I don't have to have special utensils to eat with like my mother did, and that sort of thing. So for me, it's been a lot slower with me than it has with her, which is great. So it does treat everybody the same way. I've had my doctors who specialize in this condition or other sort of neurological conditions will say they've had people with Huntington's disease who only exhibited 2 of the 3 issues. So far, I have not been attacked with mental health, which is great. I would hate to have to deal with this as somebody who's also being clinically depressed or something like that. So that one has not been the case for me. They'll talk about people who get to a specific place in the condition and then it will kind of plateau for a few years and will grow. I have also prayed for that. I've said, hey God, if you're not going to get rid of the condition, you can. But if you can't, stabilize it with me, right? Keep it from going. I'm right now surviving. I'm living. I'm fine. Can you freeze it if you won't reverse it? And I appreciate that it's been a lot slower than it has been with my mother too, and prayers of gratitude for that too. Living with HD for you. I'll go ahead and leave you to it. Did you enjoy this video? Did you get anything out of it? I'm happy to talk with you about that in the comments below. Please feel free to hit that subscribe button. I try to do one of these a week. Next week I'm going to be looking on how to stay so positive with somebody living with HD. It'll be hopefully a happier response, I guess, to this one. And then finally, I want to thank you for taking some time out of your day and watching my video. We all have so many things happening in our lives, particularly now during the COVID crunch. And so the fact that you spent this time with me, that is so humbling And I really do. I appreciate that. Thanks again, and have a great day.